Good morning, everyone. Cheryl Ann here. Thought I would do a book review today. I just finished this book this morning. I woke up at 4:30, and hubby's still asleep. The dog's half asleep. So I just sat and read it. I read this book in 2 days, and it's 430 pages. I mean, this is the paperback edition. She wrote this in 2018. It's now been made into a movie. And, I had no expectations for this book. I didn't know anything about it. I knew it had been made into a movie. I didn't know what it was about. So I went in, tabla rasa. And the minute I picked it up, I couldn't put it down. It takes place in the marsh area and the swamps of North Carolina. And a lot of it is written in the vernacular of the time. It starts in 1952 and it ends up mostly in 1970, a little beyond that. But it's about a girl who lives in the marsh with her family, and one by one her brothers and sisters leave and her mom leaves, and she's alone with her dad until she's about 10, and then he leaves and never comes back. He's a veteran of World War II, and he drinks a lot. So she has to survive on her own by her own wits, and she has to eat somehow. And it's, as an introvert myself, I really I really identified with her. I prefer nature over people too. So it really, yeah, give you a little I'll give you a little view. Oops, of course, now that we're looking outside, the birds have all gone, but the feeders were just full of birds. Maybe if they come back, we'll get another look. So she has to survive on her own, and she goes to school one day, and that was it for her. And the truant officers keep showing up, and they never find her because she's very knowledgeable about hiding out in the marsh and in the swamp, and she didn't want to go to school. I liked her spunk. And I don't want to summarize the whole thing. If you want to see a summary, you can go to goodreads.com. What I will say is that this is already, it's only the end of March, and this is already on my, you know, possible top book for 2024. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You have to read the book. And then another one for my top book for 2024 is The Women by Kristen Hanna. She's written quite a few books. I've read several of her books. I read The Four Winds. I have The Nightingale. I haven't read it. What else have I read? I guess I've just read The Four Winds. I have The Great Alone. I have The Nightingale. So I think I might read The Great Alone next. But this is about the women nurses in the Vietnam War. And you know what? You're going to need a Kleenex for both of these. But this one is really sticking with me. I can identify. It's some of it's hard to read, and I did this page. My grandparents were from Kansas and Missouri. And, my grandfather talked like this. So for me, some people said it was really hard to read the vernacular. And I get it. If you don't have family members that, you know, you've heard speak this way, it would be difficult to understand. But I didn't have any problem at all understanding it. I got it. There's a lot of grits in here and cornbread because that's all they could afford. And, eggs from chickens. Um, so the first part of the book is the swamp, and then the marsh. I'm sorry, the marsh, and then the second part is the swamp. And they both figure in very prominently in the book because she's very knowledgeable about the animals and the plants and everything in these two areas. In fact, she starts doing publishing books about the fauna in the swamp and the marsh. I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble today and look for a Sand County Almanac because I want to take a look at it. It's supposed to have really nice drawings too. And she collects shells, she collects grasses, she collects feathers, she collects all kinds of things. And I'm thinking, I'm here in the desert, but we do have a lot of plants. And I've got stuff that I've put in an old dictionary, pressing down between the pages. And maybe I should start doing a little artwork. Not that I can draw, but I could put them on something. So I might start doing that. So this was really inspirational for me. This is the first fiction book by the author. She and her husband have written some nonfiction books. Yeah, here. Secrets of the Savannah, The Eye of the Elephant, and Cry of the Kalahari. So those are their nonfiction books. They're both biologists and conservationalists. So if you want to read a couple books or one book about strong women that survive insurmountable odds, both of these would be really good. This one hit home for me because in the Vietnam War, I was a little young for it. I was in middle school in the 60s, and I graduated high school in 1970. So I was a little young, but I had friends. I had a neighbor who went to Vietnam, and he was the gunner on a helicopter, and he didn't come back the same. So I can't even imagine what it was like for the nurses. So this is a really, really good book if you want to read about the nurses in Vietnam. And then if you want to read about nature and a young girl and a young woman, struggling to survive on her own in North Carolina, this is really good. By the way, I got this for, it says 50 cents, but I got it half price off Friday. I'm a friend of the Palm Desert Library, so I get all my books half off on Friday, so I paid a quarter for it. So I'm keeping this one and I'm keeping this one. These are not going out in my little free library. These I'm keeping on my bookshelf because I might want to reread both of these. So let me know what you think if you have any questions or comments. And do hit the thumbs up. I do like to hear from people. Until next time, bye for now.